How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today I figured we'd do a look back at the year of 2022 in horror, both movies and TV, and then after that do a top 5 horror movies of the year. And yeah, it's January, New Year's just started, excited for a bunch of stuff to come, but now that the year's officially over, a good time to take a look back at what turned out to be a pretty good year. I mean, I'm looking at my notes here. Lots of big stuff happened. Lots of new entries in big horror franchises. A whole new franchise popped up, and a ton of great standalone, and also some really cool TV as well. Anyway, I guess without further ado, let's go into the year overview. I'm gonna try to talk about quite a bit really quickly, but yeah, a lot of cool stuff. And the first big thing, 5 new entries in major horror franchises. Or at least that's the ones I noticed. There may have been a few others that people think I should count. But yeah, usually you're lucky to get 1 or 2 big franchise entries, but here we got 5 of them, starting off with Scream. Scream, the sequel to Scream, obviously parodying Halloween a little bit. This time around talking about legacy sequels, and this was the first one to come out after Wes Craven's death, yet still came out really, really solid, and despite being a January movie, was a really good horror movie, and I was really happy we got another good Scream. Plus, this also features Jenna Ortega as one of the new main characters, and she would wind up having quite the year in horror. She was in this. She also was in the movie X, which is a great film. And then, later on in the year, she would be Wednesday Addams in Netflix's new Wednesday series. So, yeah, she had quite the year there. After that, on Netflix, we had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, without the word "the." Yeah, another reboot ignoring all but the first film, and this one came out really cheesy and dumb, and people are kind of debating because there's some parts like where Leatherface throws his chainsaw on the floor and it spins around like a Beyblade. I kind of have to wonder, did they had to know they were being cheesy and stupid, right? I don't know. Personally, I would have rather they did a better sequel and not something like this, but apparently enough people watched it where they say they are gonna make another one, I think, so yeah, I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but as something to get a laugh out of, yeah, there's that there. We also had, on Hulu, Prey came out. Prey, a prequel to Predator, and it actually turned out to be one of the best Predator sequels. It's a prequel about a group of Native Americans. This young girl is trying to prove herself and become a hunter, and she winds up tracking down the Predator, and it is a big uphill battle, and you really do feel the tension in this one. Yeah, taking it back to basics, doing an epic battle, it's a pretty cool movie, way, way better than I expected it to be. Hulu also did a new Hellraiser film, which I, to be honest, haven't seen yet. Everyone who I talked to said it was at least okay, and some people really liked it. I don't know, I just saw all that CGI in the trailer, and it didn't really look great, and I realized releasing stuff direct to streaming, it's really easy to say, oh, I'll get to that soon, and then just keep putting it off. I mean, I'm a fan of the original Hellraiser series. I do need to watch this one. It's been on my to-watch list for a while, but I will get to it. But lastly, as far as big franchises go, Halloween Ends did come out, capping off Blumhouse's Halloween trilogy. The first one was really good. The second one, if you want violent slasher insanity, that's in there. This one, though, they decided to, instead of doing a proper finale to their trilogy, to force in the first spin-off film instead, which, because fans didn't like this, probably sidelined all the potential spin-off films they could have. You gotta wrap up what you were doing before you start something new. But this new film, it goes in a direction that the trailers totally lied to you about. You didn't know was coming, and plus, there's only like one good kill in this movie. It was a really disappointing way to end the Halloween franchise, but any good slasher is going to keep coming back, and we'll see what they do to it later. But anyway, those were 5 entries from big franchises. Cool that so many came out, but we also got a whole new franchise from Ty West, and starring Mia Goth. This is the X/Pearl franchise. I don't know what we're gonna officially call it, but basically, we had this really cool slasher movie X, which was a brilliant throwback to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and way better than the real Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel we got. A group of young adults are sneaking off to film an adult film when they trigger this old lady who is dissatisfied with her life, and a violent slasher ensues, and it's really, really cool, big, over the top, and grungy, and we will talk about a lot of cool grunge movies that came out this year. But they also shot a prequel back-to-back with this movie, which once again features Mia Goth as the lead actress, and you find out why this person went crazy. You go back in time, see them when they were young, and find out about their life. It's a really, really cool prequel, more of a drama and character study, but don't worry, it does get to the horror moments. But because they shot them back to back, 2 new films in a new franchise came out this year, and the third one, Maxine with 3 X's, is coming out pretty soon, so really cool to see a focus from a director and an actress to just bring about what's going to be at least a trilogy. That's pretty cool. Also, it is worth mentioning Sam Raimi did come back. It's not exactly a horror movie, but it does have horror elements. He returned to the director's chair with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And yeah, this does have some faults. You can see where the studio was holding him back, and especially the PG-13 rating was holding him back, although he did get away with a lot. And it is pretty much just one other universe for most of the movie. But that being said, we get to see Sam Raimi's style, and we get to see some moments that felt like Evil Dead, or more prominently, the original Spider-Man trilogy, and it was just really great to see him directing again. Sam Raimi gave us classics, but he's been a producer for most of his later career, and it is just really great to see him back in the director's chair. Speaking of producing, his new production company, I think it's just called Raimi Productions, did put out a film called Uma, which is about strained mother-daughter relationships, and the mother is seeing the ghost of her mother, and there's a haunted mask. It's pretty cool, especially if you're a fan of what Asian horror was like about 15 years ago. It's a pretty cool throwback to that. But again, Sam Raimi pulling off more in his producer role, always giving us a bunch of stuff. But other standalone stuff, quite a few highlights this year, and I'll try to go through them pretty quick. The Menu with Anya Taylor-Joy, about a chef that's been fed up with society and is going to sort of use his new experimental dinner to teach some people a lesson. Really good, and a good bit of dark humor. A very well written and well shot movie. I really did like this. Also, The Black Phone, which is based on a short story by Stephen King's son, Joe Hill, and it's about the grungy 1970s. There's that grunge again, and this kid gets locked up by a kidnapper, and there's a disconnected black phone on the wall, but the ghost of all his past victims are going to call him and give him clues. Everything's really tight in this movie. Everything has a purpose. And again, very well written, very well directed. Scott Derrickson, the guy that did Exorcism of Emily Rose. And overall, a really good, well-written, grungy 70s throwback with a lot of little pieces. Also, Nope came out, a what's in the sky sci-fi film from Jordan Peele, who gave us Get Out and Us, a really good movie I really do like, where there's something in the sky. It's sci-fi, but it's about not quite being able to see it and trying to uncover it, you know, that sort of mystery element. And yeah, it is standalone, and I really do appreciate that, you know. And everybody wonders, like, oh, what would Jordan Peele's X-Men movie be like? Or what would Jordan Peele's movie in this franchise be like? But he's been very particular, saying he doesn't want to work with big franchises. He wants to create his own movies. And I can really appreciate that, you know, making an effort to make original films, new IPs, and just trying something different. I really do appreciate that, and we've gotten 3 pretty good movies so far. Hope he keeps up the good work. Also, Barbarian, and I said it before, I said it again, 2022, really good grunge. 2 strangers meet at a house, and there's a mysterious, messed up secret in the basement, and you don't want to say any more than that, because this movie is about good reveals, and it's pretty cool. The director of this was their first horror movie. They had a background in comedy, kind of like Jordan Peele did, and it is really great to see that come out. We also have one that kind of got a little bit forgotten about, The Cursed, which is a very dark, very gloomy werewolf movie, which I think will get a cult following. You know, I haven't heard too many people talk about it lately, but it is so dreary and gloomy, and there's even things in here that remind me of, like, say, John Carpenter's The Thing. I think this will definitely be a cult following that people will start to talk about in years to come, like, how did you miss The Cursed, you know? But also, Smile. Smile is, it follows a lot of beats of other Curse movies, but Smile is one of those that really did surprise me. You know, it does have, like I said, tropey elements, but it was just one that I wound up thinking about a lot after I watched it, and it was also really fun to watch the box office on this one. It had strange hold. Like, Smile stayed in the theaters for a long time, and proportionally made a ton of money. So it was really cool seeing this film essentially be the little film that could. And yeah, it was always just great to watch Smile. TV. The major, biggest horror TV thing that came out this year, Netflix's Wednesday, again, starring Jenna Ortega, but also produced by Tim Burton, who directed, I think, the first half or so of the episodes. And yeah, if you really like that classic Tim Burton feel, that's here. Basically, high school-aged Wednesday Adam goes to a private high school where there's a bunch of other outcast characters, including some monsters with strange powers, but there's a mysterious thing in the woods that is attacking the students and staff, and she has to solve the mystery and find out what's going on here. Overall, a really good show. I really did enjoy it, and the classic Tim Burton stuff is pretty fun. And I have to say, I really do like the Addams Family, and it's always good to see another incarnation. Have to say, the Addams Family has come out a lot better recently than the Munsters. Yeah, the Rob Zombie Munsters was also this year, and also debuted on Netflix, and let's just say the Addams Family came out a lot better. Also, Chucky Season 2 did come out. This is one I haven't had time to watch yet, but I do intend to get to sometime soon. The first season was really great, and I hear Season 2 was good as well. But yeah, Chucky managed to transition to TV a lot better than a lot of other horror franchises, and it's always cool to see him pop up in the project of this long. But yeah, TV is just so long, so I have trouble getting to all of it. One that I just started, Mike Flanagan has a new Netflix show, The Midnight Club. You may remember that he also did things for Netflix like Hush and The Haunting of Hill House. The Midnight Club is a bunch of dying teens that are in an old house that's been turned into a hospice, to make them pass away in a nice place with the care that they need. But the house has some mystery going on, and one of the girls is determined to unravel the mystery before she dies, and on top of all that, the kids meet at midnight to tell each other scary stories, so it's a bit of an anthology as well, but strangely for an anthology, it really focuses more on the connecting fiber than the stories themselves. So it's like every now and then we'll get interrupted to go on a fun little story. I just started it, but so far so good. We also have on Netflix Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, which is a pretty cool show. It's hosted by Del Toro and produced by him, but it's directed by a bunch of other people, and we even get 2 H.P. Lovecraft adaptations in here. That's pretty cool. Sadly, a lot of the episodes are quite bloated and longer than they need to be, and even though this kind of does the whole Masters of Horror thing where it says all the episodes are directed by famous directors, you really don't feel that because Netflix has this big cinematography stamp, and whatever they produce always seems to come out looking exactly the same. So yeah, sadly we don't get to see these directors' styles as much, but still the stories are pretty cool, and it is worth a watch. We also have on Starz, Shining Vale came out. A woman played by Courtney Cox, who was in Scream, goes to a house that turns out to be haunted, and it's going to plague her and her family while she tries to write her new novel. Note the title, Shining Vale. Yeah, definitely a reference to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and there'll be winks and nods in the show towards that, but a fun horror comedy. Now, before I get into the top 5, it is worth noting that I did miss a few big things this year. First of all, I have not yet gotten a chance to see Terrifier 2. It looks really good, but it was a limited theatrical release, and I didn't get a chance to get to one of the showings. That being said, the Blu-ray did eventually come out. I've picked it up, and I'll be watching that before Halloween next year. Like I said earlier, I missed the new Hellraiser, and also A24 did Bodies, 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 which I thought looked odd and stereotypical, but then people said that that was the point. It was a parody of that. So maybe I'll check it out. I heard it was, like, some people said it was really good. Other people said it was just okay. I probably check that out sometime. But there was also another one, We're All Going to the World's Fair, which I saw that title and I'm like, what the heck is this movie? But then later on I heard that it was about internet horror and that it was one of the few to actually do internet horror right. And like the World's Fair challenge is something kids are doing and then they're getting cursed, but apparently they actually do internet horror right, so I really have to check that out. I mean, we all remember the disappointment that was the Slender Man movie, and maybe this one will actually do it right. It's on my to-watch list. Anyway, without further ado, what you've been waiting for is the top 5. 2 honorable mentions first. Prey was really good, but that was more of a sci-fi action movie, so I didn't put it on top 5 horror. Same with Pearl, which was really good, but was more a drama and character study than it really was a horror movie. Those are both really good, but I'll leave them at honorable mentions. Anyway, number 5 had to go with Smile. If you saw my original review, I did say that it was a little bit cliche and there was stuff we had seen before, but this movie did stick in my head way longer than I thought it would. An evil entity that can replicate people you know, and the only thing that gives it away is its big creepy smile when it's getting too much satisfaction out of torturing you. There's scenes like there's a scene with a cat that I found myself thinking of this Christmas. And yeah, it stuck in my head, and then also, like I said earlier, watching the box office for this one, it was really interesting, and it was fun to see this little movie get so much steam, and overall, really well made. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with Barbarian. You know, this movie was a big surprise. They kept it under wraps what it really was, these 2 people meeting at an Airbnb, and I thought it would be like, for the most part, some thriller, can they trust each other, but without spoiling it, and it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it, they do find out a secret about the house, and it just gets so big, so fantastic, so crazy. And then you even get a really fun performance from Justin Long later in the movie. And grungy, insane, you gotta love it. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Nope. I really do like this. I'm a fan of horror and sci-fi. And they did something, you know, with the whole what's in the sky element. You did, you know, have that grasp of just trying to reach out and understand what the aliens were and keeping it really vague. But then when they do the reveal, it was different, it was big, and it was something that really stuck in my head. Plus the 2 lead performances, you got the sister who was really fun and outgoing, but the brother who was a quiet and more shy guy was actually a really interesting character. You don't get people that are this quiet in movies a lot, yet still turn out really interesting. So I love the concept, I love the characters, I really do hope Jordan Peele keeps up this momentum, you know? Hopefully he doesn't fall into that Shyamalan path where Shyamalan had some really good hits early on and then went crazy. Fingers crossed that Jordan Peele keeps giving us a bunch of classic original IPs. Anyway, moving on to number 2, I'm gonna give that to The Black Phone. Really tight, really well written. The concept where there's ghost in the movie, but it's not about the ghost. It's not, I mean, the ghosts are scary, but it's the ghost giving you clues, and really, you know, it becomes an escape confinement thriller, trying to find your way out of this one location, and Ethan Hawke as the grabber with a creepy mask designed by Tom Savini is a really good, threatening horror villain, and yeah, it's a really good movie. But anyway, number 1, if you know me, you know what I gotta give it to, and that is X. X was a really great Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired movie, and Chainsaw is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and it really was a great, grungy, gory slasher, and it's the kind of thing that you keep wanting to see from modern slasher movies, and now we're finally getting it, plus it turning into a franchise right away. It's really cool. So yeah, I really do like, you know, as such a big slasher geek, going in and doing one right. Like I said, this is a much better Texas Chainsaw movie than the real one. And also great performances, Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega. It's really cool. So yeah, the grungy slasher horror fan in me has to put this at number one. Really cool, really tight. Anyway though, I am curious what you think. Is there a movie in here I didn't mention that you think is worth checking out? Definitely let me know, and let me know what your top fives are. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. If you guys want to see more, I'll put my 2022 playlist here, and you can see reviews for a lot of the stuff that I did mention in this video. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.